Good morning, everybody. Burnett County Circuit Court Judge Melissia Mogen is our very special guest today, Thursday, July 17th, 2025. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching DrydenWire Live, presented by Americans for Prosperity, Wisconsin. APlea Wisconsin works to reignite the American dream and break down government barriers that hold us back from our full potential. Visit APleaWisconsin.com to learn more and join APlea to fight for more freedom for all Wisconsinites. With that, we welcome, for the first time on with us, Burnett County Circuit Court Judge Melissia Mogen. Melissa, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ben. How are you? I am doing great.
I'm so excited. First time that you have been on. I have to ask something before we even get started. My dad was a sheriff for 28 years in Washburn County, and he's completely ruined TV shows for me. So when I was a kid or in high school, watched Law and Order, and he'd just sit there, nope, can't do that, like to all the cops. Like, nope, can't do that, can't do that. No, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen if you do that. He's like ruined shows for me. I can't watch them with him. As a judge, do you ever do that too? Like sometimes when you're just watching this, like, no, you can't do that, or that was stupid.
It's very hard not to do that because the legal shows are so not accurate and so not true. So people don't really want to watch with me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it is a TV show, so I can appreciate that. But has it ruined it for you?
Has it ruined it for me? No, for me watching it, I like it. I enjoy it. I love all that is the law, even the fake stuff. But it's hard when I watch with my family, with my kids, and sure. I'm like, well, you really can't go to trial the next day. It's a homicide.
What are you talking about? They do it like 5 minutes later, and then there's a trial.
They do, and they say, well, tomorrow we're having this 5-day trial. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's not the real world. But we could do like a whole show on just like breaking all those things down, and like that's not how it all works. But for people who don't know you, you've been the judge in Burnett County for, this is your second term, right? It's been what, 6-8 years? How long has it been?
It's been 8 years now. I've been on the bench.
You were, your first election, you had an opponent, did you not?
I did have an opponent.
And I think you won like 63, 65%, so it was a very resounding win. Did anyone run against you in the last election? What was that, 2 years ago?
No, they did not. I ran by myself. I thought I had heard some rumblings, but then in the end, no one else ran.
Well, we kind of see that a little bit in our area lately, that a lot of people don't seem to want to run for those positions, whether it's DA or judges. Why do you think that is?
Because it's a lot of work, and you're giving yourself, I literally put my whole self into my job, body, mind, soul. It's a lot of work. You're underpaid. It has a lot of secondary trauma that people don't really even think about when it comes with a job like a judge or a district attorney or a law enforcement officer, a social worker, all of those jobs. And so it's very hard. It's difficult.
You said secondary, did you say trauma?
Trauma, secondary trauma.
What is that?
Secondary trauma is where you're not the person actually experiencing the trauma. You're not a part of that incident or event, but you're going through, like in homicide cases, you're looking at the pictures, you're seeing how the victims are affected. You're doing all of that, and it actually has an impact. Every case, I can't say every case, most every case, especially the serious ones, they stick with you. They stick with me. I remember all of them very vividly, and what I've seen, what I've heard, the impact on the people that it's affected, the impact on the people, on the community as a whole, and it sticks with you.
I think that's something that, well, when Fitzy and I did a show, and we've had other sheriffs on in the past as well, we've talked about that, and we talk about first responders, the impacts that stuff has. But you know what? We've never actually talked about judges before. We've never actually put them into that same category.
I don't think many people do, and I don't think they put district attorneys in that category either. And I don't think people really give like social workers as much of a benefit as they should, because they see everything firsthand, even though they're not experiencing those events. And so we are all experiencing that kind of secondary trauma.
Yeah. And good morning, I'll always call her Representative Gay Magnifici. I know she has retired now, but whatever. Good morning, Gay. Thanks for joining us. And anyone who's joining us, please say good morning to us. But it is a single judge county. In Burnett County, there's, I think, like 25 or 26 out of the 72 counties, so that's roughly a third of the counties have a single judge county. There has to be benefits to that, but there also must be challenges. So what are some of the benefits and challenges to being a judge in a single circuit court judge county?
Well, some of the benefits are I get to control everything. I get to make sure that I'm running my courtroom. I'm running the policies here. I'm the one who is in charge of making all of the decisions and how our cases flow or how they don't flow. All of that, the administrative stuff that people don't think about with a judge's position. There are definitely disadvantages because with all of that, then I'm the only one who has to figure all of that out. And I'm the only one who has to implement it. I'm the one who has to be on all of the committees that a judge must be on because I'm only one. I don't get a break like some other counties with other judges do with some of the committees and programs.
What committees? I didn't know you had to be on committees.
Yep, there are certain committees, like there is we have the OWI committee, we have the truancy committee, we have drug court, the CJCC. There are so many programs and committees that people don't really understand that we have to partake in and be a part of.
Is drug court treatment court? Is that what that's referred
Yes.
to as? What happened? I forgot all about that. There was a thing. I think we had a press release sent to us from somebody in Burnett. I think it was the board chair there. It was something about the treatment court, and then you sent us a press release. This was a few months ago. I can't remember all the details. For people who didn't see all that, what was that about, and what is the status of treatment court as of now?
Well, that was about was my treatment court coordinator. We've now changed it to treatment court. We used to be a drug and alcohol court, but now we've changed it to a treatment court. My treatment court coordinator, she ended up getting ill or some medical diagnosis where she's not able to come into work anymore. And because she was not able to come into work anymore, that's when I analyzed and I looked at the whole drug court and her position and all of those things because I needed to hire somebody else and we needed to fill that position and I needed to know what exactly she did down to, the very fine letter. And then in doing so, I realized that Burnett County is one of the very few, if not the only drug courts that only has a part-time drug treatment court coordinator. And so in my analysis, I realized that we need a full-time treatment court coordinator in order to have a better functioning, working treatment court.
Okay.
And then, so how it happened, it came about is that we weren't able to get that full-time position. Burnett County is unfortunately one of the poorest counties in the Wisconsin, in the state of Wisconsin. And so, and plus Burnett County has a very high population of more retirement folks than we do young families to work and produce and have businesses, et cetera. And so we have a very low working capital for our government to function. And so it was looked at and we were unable at that time to come to an agreement to reach something with regards to a full-time coordinator. And so I'm going to say it got a little out of hand, I guess, in the fact that in the end, both the courts as well as the administration, the county board, the county as a whole really wants drug court to work, treatment court to work. And we realize that we need to have it functioning and working better. And that means putting more effort and work into it. And so we're looking at hopefully being able to make that position full-time coming this next budget cycle.
Okay, so as of right now, the treatment court is still going on.
Yes.
And is there a
going on
part-time?
strong.
Is it a part-time person still?
Yes, it's still our original treatment court
I get it.
coordinator. She's been our treatment court coordinator since since like the year or second year after Burnett County went forward and put together a treatment court.
I see. So in the next budget, so who does your? Well, I've been on the Washburn County Board for this is my second year, but I'm still learning everything. And I'm not on finance, but I was told last year during the budget time that it's just I think they refer to it like as Hell Week, right? Where everybody, all the departments come in and say this is what we want, and very few times I'm told that people actually come in and say, we got too much money. Why don't you take some of it back, use it for somewhere else? Usually everyone wants something. Is that a part of this? Or let me ask you a different way. Are you the one that does the budget for your, even though it's a judge's office, right? It's an elected position, but it's still like in a budget line item as a department. You're the head of the department. Are you the one that does the budget? And is this what's going to be on your wish list? Or is this separate and they've already agreed they're going to find the money somewhere else?
I'm a part of the budget, though. Our clerk of courts, Jackie Bosch, she's the one who actually handles the nitty gritty. She gets down to the numbers. She is such an amazing number person. She knows how to do all of that and do it very well. So she and I speak and we discuss what we want to do and how we want to have the money spent during the year. But in the end, she's the one who does all of that hard work.
I see.
And the drug court coordinator having a full time, that's one of my goals. I know that that's a county goal, and hopefully we're going to be able to do that, and hopefully we can have the money to be able to do that. But we're also looking at now being able to retain a bailiff for our court, which is very needed. So we're going to look at also adding in and needing to locate funds for a court security officer.
Okay, I was going to say, for people who don't know what a bailiff is, I think we've all seen Night Court. And if not, it's totally shit. I see. So you don't have one now. Has Burnett County ever had one?
No, we've never had a court security officer. We have a bailiff, so to speak, when we have jury trials, but that's it. We do have officers, though. If we need security, we know that there's going to be issues or there's potential for issues. We're always able to call the sheriff, and sheriff always sends up law enforcement officers to sit and be in the courtroom.
If you could wave a magical wand and there was, I wouldn't say an unlimited amount of money, so let's not get too crazy, but if you could have, your three wishes of this is what I like to do. I think you kind of nailed two of them already, I think, right? Full-time in the treatment court, right? And then a bailiff. What would be a third one that you're like, boy, this would be fantastic? Is there a third one?
Yes, I would like to have, if we're talking only about the courts and only about things that I would be a part of or tangentially a part of, I would love to have more money to be able to look at more deferred programs or other restorative justice programs, things that we can not only have people be accountable and responsible for their actions, but also learn some things and be able to grow as a person, because in the end, that's going to help the community and the public more.
Sure. You had mentioned you could call like the sheriff. In a single judge county, I always refer to it, or Fitz and I used to refer to it as like the three-headed monster. And that's probably, we probably should find a better term for that. But that would be the elected positions in the under the judicial, I guess we'll put it under the judicial umbrella of a sheriff, a judge, and a district attorney. Is it important to have those relationships, or is it, it doesn't matter if we have a good working relationship or not? You do your job, I'll do my job, and that's fine. But what is your relationship with the sheriff?
Some counties run on the idea of it's fine, however it works. Sometimes we have to work with them, sometimes we don't. Sure. Our county here right now, in this era, in this time, we have the best functioning, the best flowing, I want to say, people in the heads of our departments. Sheriff is amazing. Our district attorney is amazing. We all work as a team, so to speak, in making sure that the government functions and functions properly and smoothly and efficiently. We're not necessarily all going to agree with each other in the end result of a case or in an incident or something like that. But in the end, we are all working together to have that flowing team, the flowing government, and looking out because we know how scarce our resources are. And it's amazing. I want to say that I've had the pleasure of working under Sheriff Finch, working with Sheriff Finch in my term, and now working with our District Attorney, Kevin Schmidt. And I think I see great things. And it saddens me that our sheriff is going to be retiring here soon. But I have no doubt in my mind that she is going to make sure that we have some good candidates that are going to be running.
You brought up the DA, Kevin Schmidt. He's new to that. Or was it Kevin Schmidt?
Kevin Schmidt,
Kevin
yes.
Schmidt. He's relatively new to that. He was the ADA, right? And then ran for the DA. In your 8 years, how many DAs have there been? Because it seems to be like quite a few, right? Was there, what, 4?
Bill Noreen, then I had Joseph Schieffer.
Oh, I love Joe.
Yeah, and I think, and then Kevin Schmidt, I think we may have only had 3, but we've had a couple ADAs, assistant district attorneys, come and go.
Okay, who was the one that they did well, we don't want to get into that. Bill Noreen. There was someone that was from Russ County. Was that Bill Noreen?
I think, and James Reneke. Oops, sorry. I forgot about James Reneke. You're right, there's 4.
I thought there was 4.
We had 4.
I've heard good things about Kevin Schmidt. I really have. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know how you be a good DA. I have no idea. I don't know how a judge is a good judge or bad. I don't know how to evaluate that. But you're saying, as of right now, this is going well.
I think it's all going very well. And to answer your question, even if it wasn't necessarily a question posed to me, how do you be a good DA? You work really hard. You put your whole self into your job. You analyze the cases. You look at the facts. You talk to the law enforcement if you need additional facts with the case or other things. You talk to the law enforcement if you think that this isn't necessarily going to be a chargeable offense. You work well with law enforcement. You work well with other departments. And in the end, what makes a great DA is somebody who reviews the facts of the case and the referrals from the law enforcement officers and determines what is actually legitimately chargeable and not to overcharge cases.
When they overcharge cases, why is that bad?
Why is that bad? When they overcharge cases, so some people, the public may not understand this, that when charges come down in a criminal complaint and they're filed with the county through the state or for the state, it goes on our system called CCAP. I forgot exactly what that whole thing means because it's our computer system. It's where all of our legal cases are on the computer. Everybody can access that. When things are overcharged, and let's say somebody's charged with maintaining a drug trafficking place, possession of methamphetamine, possession of THC, possession of drug paraphernalia, let's say just those 4 charges. And let's say that really,
and by the way, that's like a relatively normal charge that we see.
It is relatively normal.
Right, yeah.
See it all the time.
Yep.
But sometimes in the end, those cases may then be presented to the court as a plea deal, as an agreement between the parties, and it may be, only plead to an amended THC and a paraphernalia, or just a paraphernalia, because in the end, there's only residue in the paraphernalia, or, the person didn't actually live in the house or wasn't aware or wasn't selling drugs. When people hear the word maintaining a drug trafficking place, they think it's a drug dealer's house or where a lot of drug deals go down. Simply to maintain a drug trafficking place, you simply have to have the house, be in charge of the house, and know that drug use is going on, whether or not it's dealing or just simple use. And so when those things are overcharged and it goes on our CCAP system, those charges remain on that person's name for 50 years or more. And so when the public looks at CCAP and they pull up John Johnson and they say, oh, look, he was charged with 4 felonies and he only pled to a misdemeanor. But, oh gosh, look at that. He was charged with 4 felonies. He must be a felon. That's not necessarily true. Just because you see a charge, a felony charge on somebody's name on the CCAP system, it doesn't mean that they have actually engaged in that crime specifically.
So my understanding, and I don't know much about the court system, but a lot of those, you arrest someone and the law enforcement will give it to the district attorney's office with everything that they have found, right, or during their whatever it was, whether it's an investigation or it's a traffic stop, whatever it was. And then the DA, of course, looks at it and decides what's provable and what's not. But a lot of those, my understanding is, and I'm sure I'm off on this, tell me if I am, is that if there's more charges, then there's more likely to be a plea deal to get rid of some of those other charges. Is that true?
Yes and no. And again, I don't want to bash any district attorneys, but some have the thought of charging a lot of charges to try and get the deal and work it down to what you really think that the charges should be. And some, like our district attorney now, he really reviews the cases and wants to charge the charges. And when there are over charges, then he asks to amend them, or he states it on the record exactly why it was overcharged.
Sure. Does that have any impact on your, when we do stories on the cases where this charge was dismissed but read in? Explain that to people, how that process works.
What dismissed and read in is?
Yeah. And what I mean
Okay.
is, in this, well, first of all, explain that for people who don't know. But also, if there's, let's say those 5 charges, I think there's like 5 that you had mentioned during that maintaining drug place. And three of them were dismissed but read in. What does that mean?
Dismissed and read in means that they're going to be dismissed, but they're read in so the court can look at those charges for sentencing purposes and can look at those charges for restitution. It doesn't mean that the defendant is admitting guilt to those charges, but is saying that I understand the court can use those for sentencing purposes. And when they're dismissed and read in charges, some may be there's not enough probable cause to convict them on. Some it may be that it just wasn't a charge that should have been charged. Some could be just part of the plea deal to give that person a second chance if they're somebody new to the criminal system. But dismissed and read in charges mean that once it's dismissed and read in, they can't be charged with that crime again in the future. So if the law enforcement and the DA discover more information and evidence about that dismissed and read in charge, sometime down the road, that defendant cannot be charged with that crime again, even if it comes out 1,000% that they're guilty of it. That's different than just a straight out dismissed charge, right? Because if it's dismissed on either court or prosecutor's motion, that means that maybe some day down the road, if they find evidence that the defendant is 1,000% guilty, has done all of these things, then that defendant can be charged again with that charge.
All right, we have a question from Carol. Carol, I'm not going to forget you. I want to bring that up, but I want to stick on this here real quick. So when there's a plea deal that is made, and this is something I literally have never known. I've had Judge Yackel on. I love that guy. I don't think I've ever asked him this, but I've always wondered, what do you know about it before it gets presented to you?
With the plea deal, and again, there's different schools of thoughts with regards to this. Some judges don't want to know what the plea deal is before you proceed to the plea. I'm on the other side of that. I always want to know ahead of time, okay, what is the offer? Has the offer been accepted? Is this the deal? So then I can get my head wrapped around it with the facts that I have available to me. But generally, before I go into a plea and sentencing, the only thing I know is, for the most part, this is what's been offered and this is what's been accepted, and we're going to argue this to the court. But the facts that I get for a case for sentencing are only those facts that are within the criminal complaint, and facts that I get from motion hearings and arguments from both attorneys.
Do you usually know whether it's a plea deal or it's it's time for a sentencing, do you usually know what you're going to do before
I
you
do
hear the
not.
arguments?
I do not. Sometimes I have an idea and I think of what I might possibly do, but I'm going to tell you it all changes. A judge can say, I know exactly what I'm going to sentence. I'm going to sentence this person to this for this long, but they're not being a very good judge, because when you're in a hearing, that's where you get most of your information. Like I said, I get all of my information from the criminal complaints, from any motion hearings, from the preliminary hearing, and from the arguments from the attorneys. And sometimes a lot of times the arguments have all of this information that I was not aware of. And maybe the defendant has not had a criminal history. Maybe this is the first time. Maybe this was something where they got caught up with an individual they shouldn't have. All of these things come out in the sentencing arguments. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes I go in there thinking I'm going to do one thing and I do something completely different based upon the information and arguments from the attorneys.
Have you ever run into a situation where even after hearing all this, you're like, okay, this is what I'd like to do, but aren't there like sentencing guidelines? And you're like, oh, snap, I guess I can't do that. Have you ever run into that before?
Yeah, sometimes, but there are sentencing guidelines, but for the most part, the sentencing guidelines are only for the operating while intoxicated, it's the OWIs, or the operating with restricted controlled substances, those types of things. Okay. And when we have like mandatory minimums for some crimes, because there are some mandatory minimums. An operating while intoxicated fifth offense has a mandatory minimum of at least 1.5 years of initial confinement, and you can do whatever the maximum could be on extended supervision. But we don't have many sentencing guidelines in Wisconsin except for those few instances.
Do you think we should, or do you like it this way?
I don't think we necessarily should, because then we're telling the legislature that they can tell the judges what they should or should not do with regards to sentencing. And right now, the judges have a lot of discretion. But again, a lot of it comes from the arguments of the attorneys and the facts. But right now, I have a lot of discretion when I hear cases and I hear things. If I'm told by the legislature I have to look at between 5 and 8 years for a sentence, I could think, well, they don't know exactly the facts of this case, and it should be 3 years, or maybe it should be 12 years. Every sentence is a case-by-case, fact-by-fact basis, if that makes sense.
It does. 2023, I think, was 2 years ago. There's constitutional amendments, I think in an April budget, both of them referring to bail. People kind of get caught up in bail. I do too. I totally do. Like, I run this business at the same time. I can get easily, like, what the frick? That's the only bail that you gave this dude? Are you kidding me? Did that make it kind of allowed you to consider more things, right? When it comes to bail, has that made it easier, harder, better, worse? What are your thoughts on those constitutional amendments?
Well, I actually think that they're better. They give more discretion and authority to the courts to look at the protection of the public aspect and whether or not the defendant could be a risk to the public. Whereas previously, what the court needed to do, or we were told to do, is first look at, failing to appear. We have to ensure their appearance for court. And that's why, quite honestly, you would see a lot of signature bonds in some of the counties, because if they make all of their court appearances, you need to first look at a signature bond. Even if they have 20 convictions behind them and they're serious convictions, maybe a burglary, maybe, possession of methamphetamine, maybe intent to deliver possession of methamphetamine. But if they've made every single court appearance in all of those cases prior to the constitutional amendment, we needed to just look at, well, are they going to come to court? History says they're going to come to court. Well, I guess maybe we need to do a signature bond. But now we get to use our discretion a little bit more to look at the actual risk to the public, and if there is a safety risk to the public, and look at, have they been on probation before? Have they violated probation? What type of crime is this? And we can put cash on individuals a lot more easily, I guess, than we could previously.
Yeah. Do you have an opinion on? I personally of the opinion that that was good that we did that. Do you have a personal opinion on that?
Well, I can say my opinion as a judge is I like the fact that now I have more authority. I have more discretion um, in bail and setting cash versus signature.
So I want to go back to this question from Carol. She says, Brad asks, views on Milwaukee Judge Dugan's ICE obstruction case and immigration issues. I'm not even sure where that is at this point. I haven't seen that in the news lately. Obviously, you saw that as huge news. What were your thoughts about that when you saw that story?
Well, I don't know where that is in the process right now, and unfortunately, I do have to say I'm not permitted to answer that question. We've been directed that we're not supposed to give any responses as it relates to that issue.
You know what? I wish I would have had that excuse when I was in school and just said, I'm sorry, my parents told me that I can't actually speak about my homework assignments and why they're not turned in. See, that'd be great. We should just have
That
one of
would be
those.
great.
Mike Schaefer says, doesn't, I'm sorry, I missed this, Mike. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Doesn't that discretion create uneven justice throughout the state, allowing some judges to slap a guilty party on the wrist while others may be much harsher? Is that fair to those found guilty?
And I guess I understand the question. I think it was from Mike Schaefer. I think
Yeah.
that's who I saw the individual was. I understand his question with regards to doesn't that create an unequal balance in the justice system? Well, honestly, to let you know that yeah, there could be some judges that are way off on one side and some way off on another, but I don't think that it does create anything unequal when it comes to the individual. Judges are supposed to, we're taught, we go to judicial college after we're elected. We go to continuing education courses and conferences, things that continue to educate us and update us on the law and the situation, and to do sentencing scenarios with judges across Wisconsin. But again, I have to get back to it's a case by case analysis. You have to look at the defendant, their past criminal history. You have to look at if they have any needs for rehabilitation. You have to look at their criminal record. You have to look at their age, their mental ability, if they have any mental disorders. You have to look at a whole slew of factors when you're sentencing. And I'm going to tell you, that's why I try as a judge to get to know, or to know as much about the people that come in front of me when it comes to sentencing. The more I know about a defendant, the better sentence I can create for the defendant, to hold the defendant accountable and responsible, but also to ensure the public is protected and that there is punishment.
Well, and also, let's face it, judges want more control anyway. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're a bunch of prima donnas, I tell you. Holy cow. You're so needy. I'm just kidding. You have, I've seen on YouTube, I'm rarely on YouTube, but I've seen that, what is the YouTube thing that I see you on? Like you're just, I can't remember the name of it was. What, is everything just streamed live? Is that where it's coming from the county, or what is that?
Well, some judges do this. Not a lot of judges in Wisconsin do this, but when we went to COVID and we had to figure out how to continue to run our courtrooms, keep our cases moving, and keep protecting the public, Zoom came around, and we were told we needed to start using Zoom, and we needed to start live streaming so that the public can still participate, be a part of the court system without actually having to travel into the courtroom.
Love it.
I am one of few judges. I don't know how many there are in Wisconsin, but I am one of few judges that continue to live stream my courtroom because I want the public to know exactly what the court does and to follow cases and to know those types of things. So I live stream it with it's our county Burnett Circuit Court YouTube channel, but I delete them. I don't share them. I don't try and get subscribers. I don't try and get ads. I don't know exactly how people bootleg or take my videos and put them out on their own sites and things. I'm just not that tech savvy, because in my YouTube settings, I have it so people can't download or forward. So I don't know how it's done, but what I do is I live stream it and I delete it within a day or 2 days, unless I forget. And so that's how my court is out there. But again, I don't know how they're posted on.
Okay, yeah. So there's two different ones. I get it now. Okay. Because there's another one, and I'm only picturing in my mind's eye a whole bunch of neon green writing. And that's all I remember is just a whole bunch of neon green writing on things. So somebody else will take it, and then is it usually like good or bad? I mean, is it complimentary, or is it like what's the point of doing it? I mean, is it just like repurposing it, or just taking clips?
Well, sorry to interrupt, but people take all of the court hearings, and it's not just with my court. I'm originally. Well, I'm not originally. I'm originally from Burnett County. This is where I was. I went to law school in Michigan. I practiced in Michigan for a long time, so I know a lot of people there. I know judges there. Some of the judges I'm friends with, and I knew back in Michigan, they live stream as well. So lots of judges do it, and sometimes people make the videos and they do things to them, or they put on a funny hat on me, a cartoon hat or something like that. Or they just stream the videos and they let the public watch. Sometimes it puts the court in a good light. Sometimes it's not. Of course, everybody has their opinion. The public is welcome to their opinion. But I don't necessarily know if it's good or bad. I'm not going to control it. Yeah. See, that's one of the things that I'm not going to control it. I'm not going to take offense to it. I'm not going to be hurt by somebody posting something. It's just my job.
Yeah. If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Oh, I always say when I'm not going to be a judge, I'm going to work at Quick Trip. That's my favorite job.
Why? Is any particular reason Quick Trip, or do you just love Quick Trip?
Well, Quick Trip my heart and soul is in baking. I actually went to culinary school for a year prior to law school. That's where my heart is. But Quick Trip, because it's an amazing company, and I've known that since I was in college because of my uncle and his business, and he would tell me from when I was in college how Quick Trip is such a great company. They have great benefits. They're very personable. They have great food, and they're only getting better.
DrydenWire Live, presented by Quick Trip. Yeah.
What?
I said DrydenWire Live, presented by Quick Trip. Yeah. Oh, hold on a second. Looks like I think they found a workaround here, maybe. Brad, follow. What are your personal and professional views on immigration deportation of those here illegally? Can you answer that?
I love the question, but judges, we are impartial. I cannot even take political stances anymore. I can't put out political signs in my yard. I can't help any politician run for an office.
Well, that's smart.
Can't even express.
I mean, even if you could, you shouldn't. Right.
If I could, I shouldn't. I'm not even supposed to ethically express my political views because the Supreme Court can. They're one of the few that can do those things. But circuit court judges and appeals judges, we're ethically bound from discussing that because we're supposed to be impartial. We are impartial, and we're not supposed to use our position and clout to try and persuade others politically.
What's the point of having the position and all that clout if you can't use it? Just saying. But it's a good
you can use it for your job and your profession.
I suppose. What are some of the fringe benefits of being a judge? I don't know, your own parking spot or something? Free coffee. What do you get as like fringe benefits?
Yes. Well, parking spot is one. Yeah, we can get a parking spot, and that's great. The parking spot is more for knowing exactly where your car is at all times. Some of the benefits I get to
hold on a
control
second.
my calendar.
I was using it as an example. You literally do have your own parking spot?
Yeah, I think most judges do.
Oh,
some judges even get. I know a couple counties that have pull into garages where the judges get to go.
Okay, no, if for a safety standpoint, that actually I totally get that. I really, really do. But then again, like if I were a judge, I wouldn't want my own parking spot. I wouldn't want people to know when they're walking out and I just ruled on something, like that's the judge's car. Just saying, I probably wouldn't want
It's
my own.
protected by like 20 cameras, and it's it's in a restricted area.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Continue. Other like fringe benefits, as it were, things that like I really enjoy this because I love those things in life.
I get to control my calendar. I get to control my life. Granted, I am a very high caseload county, but if something happens and I need to not be there, I can move cases. I don't like to do that because people wait months and months to get on my calendar. So that's only in an emergency and urgent situation. I don't know. I get to control my job and how it functions and how it flows. I get to work with some really great people throughout Wisconsin, some really great judges, some really great attorneys. That's a perk to me.
Does Burnett County, according to Judge Yackel, back when they were still a one county judge, he sent me this, I don't know if it was a website or PDF or something, and it would show like caseload. And I don't remember what this was called or what it was. It just kind of divided it all out, and it's per judge. So it's not just for judges in single judge counties. And he was like consistently number one or number two. That's why they ended up getting another judge in Sawyer County, or one of the factors that went into that. Burnett County and Sawyer County are roughly the same size, different situation in both. But do you think Burnett County needs a second judge? Should that ever even be entertained by the state?
It's called a caseload summary, and it looks at a judge's caseload throughout a period of time. I have historically been very high since I started back in 2017. Right now, Burnett County is number 3. We're tied with Trempealeau on the third highest caseload out of 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin. You're right. Sawyer County no longer is, because they were blessed to be able to get Judge Isham along with Judge Yackel. And so now they are a lot lower. I don't think they are even close to needing anything more. But in order to get the ability to have a second judge, you have to be high on that list. The legislature has to pass the legislation to allow you to get that judge. But first, before the legislature will even consider that, your county needs to have a complete whole courtroom with a jury box and jury deliberating room, jury room.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah. And again, we're in a very poor area up here in northwestern Wisconsin. But that's okay. You know what? I have a great court commissioner. He does an amazing job. He is excellent. He helps with the caseload, so I can keep it manageable. And so the county was really great when I first started, and they allowed the court commissioner to come multiple times during a month versus just one time a month. And that has significantly helped, at least with the flow of cases. I'm not saying it's dropping our caseload down, but with the flow of the cases.
When you say county, to whom are you referring? The county board? No, that wouldn't be true.
Oh, yes. Well, yes. The county board, when you're asking the county to be able to approve something.
Sure. Okay, I just want to make sure. So if you are a single judge county, and I mean, you have to, go away every once in a while, not have to, but, want time with your family, etc.
Sometimes I have to.
Aren't you the one that you're also supposed to sign all the warrants and stuff, 2 a.m, phone calls? Maybe that's just a TV thing. What do they do when you're not there?
It is not a TV thing. It happens in real life all the time. I'm a one-judge county. I work with some really, really great judges in District 10 that if I'm going to be in a place where I will not have phone service, they will take coverage for me for warrants and bail, etc. But for the most part, when I go on vacation or I go to a judicial conference, I do it with my phone. They call me at 2 a.m. or whenever it is, and they say, "Judge, we have a warrant. Can we send it to you?" And they send it to me. I review it. I swear them in, I go over it, and either I say yep or I say no.
I didn't know you could do it over the phone. So that was a TV thing. I always thought you had to go there and get a signature.
Back in the day, you did. When I first started, it was in-person signing, and I just knew that I'm at least a little bit more tech savvy than simply paper, and so I knew that we had the ability to do that with the statute, and so right away I started instituting electronic, and that has made it so much easier, not only for me but for law enforcement, and so it's a lot easier and quicker to do warrants now.
Well, Melissa, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. We're about up to our time here. Is there anything else you wanted to make sure that we talked about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
I don't think so. This was a very good experience for me. I'm not used to being on this side and answering questions,
Oh,
but
sure.
I really do appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, man. Now I thought I should have done this totally different now. I should have, been more, judgy, like, how judges are, whatever. What kind of a judge style are you? Are you one of those disciplinarian people and it's like, shut up, you can't talk? Or more just a little looser? How would people describe your judge's style, if there is such a
I
thing as a
would
style?
think people would describe me, I think, as an empathetic judge that can take control and handle her courtroom and yet keep people accountable. I'm authoritative. I'm not aggressive. I control my courtroom and I control the people inside it, but I'm not. I try not to be harsh at the tongue all the time.
So a benevolent dictator.
Sure.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, I've never wanted to do that job. Oh my goodness. Obviously, DrydenWire, we do a lot of crime and court stuff, and it's just fantastic because nobody, or I should say nobody, people just make opinions based on headlines, and it's just fantastic, right? It's it's just so funny. I don't know if you ever see that. What is your relationship like? Because you have intercounty leader over there, and we just do mainly crime and court stuff. Relationship with media good in terms of how they cover things, including DrydenWire. If
I think
grade us
so.
from on a scale of 1 to 10, or give us a letter grade for our crime and court stories in Burnett County. How we do them. What
Well,
would you give us?
I appreciate, I like the public to be informed. I just want the public to be reminded, though, that the headline doesn't describe the case. It's not what the case, it's just a teaser. It's just to try and get you into it.
You try to explain what it is, but you can't put the whole story in a freaking headline. Like you stick to
You
the
cannot.
factual headline, but even factual headlines, I mean, it's not meant to be. It's not the New York Post. It's not sensationalism. It's factual headline, but again, it's just a headline. You actually have to read it.
Isn't it something like, I don't know the exact term, but isn't it like a thirst trap that you're trying to get them to be
Okay.
into
Yeah.
it?
Thirst trap's a little bit different. We'll talk about that offline.
I don't know. Well, it's
Oh, that's
something
funny.
that you're just trying to
Yeah.
tease them to say,
Yeah.
hey, this is what happened, when quite honestly, it's the grabber, but it's not really what happened in the case.
Yeah. Awesome. Melissa, thanks so much for coming on.
But
You're welcome.
I have a
anytime.
good relationship with media. I'm so glad that they're working, that the public is being more informed. And so, you know what? I would like to see media be more actually a part of it and in the hearings versus than just sometimes taking it from the minutes or even just watching the live YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it was in the beginning when I started.
Was it really? So people don't
Yeah,
go,
I
like
had-
newspapers don't go anymore? Because we've never gone. And
No,
by the way, we never will. Like, first of all, we don't have the resources to do it because we cover 6 counties. Oh my goodness. We'd have to hire like 10 people. But the other reason we don't do it is because if we stick to the criminal complaint, we stick to all the information that is readily available via public document and dissemination, and then we're essentially like summarizing and explaining some of these things, we're less likely to, get sued. Well, people can sue anybody for any reason they want, and a lot of people try to sue us all the time, which is fine. I don't care. You're never going to win because we stick to all of this. As soon as you go in the courtroom and then you start, I think it's a little more easier to start putting in, and this is kind of what happened, and if then you start misquoting things, that's, I think, a little bit dangerous, and I kind of want to avoid that completely. I'm just going to stick to what is documented. However, there are some big cases that I would like to actually be able to go to and be a part of. I think those would require it. But I just assumed media was always in your courtroom. I didn't know that they weren't.
They were back in 2017 and 18 and maybe even 19. But I think once Zoom came around, everybody can do everything from home. Or, so.
Yeah, we used to do in-person. We used to have a studio, and we do in-person these chats, these conversations, right? And then when COVID hit, we're like, well, can't do that anymore. So I'm literally at home right now. So same thing. Like I used to do it in person. Now it's like, hey, I can just do it right here at the house. But I do kind of miss the in-person thing. And we're still looking for maybe building a studio or renting a place because there's something, it's just something about being next to somebody and talking.
It is. Like I miss that too. I don't like Zoom. I don't like Zoom at all. I don't like Zoom court. I don't like that. And everybody thinks that they have the right to do Zoom. You don't unless the judge says you can have that ability. But I miss the personal experience. And it would have been nice to be seated next to you and to have that banter and, maybe it'd have been a little less rigid for me.
What? Well, it's the first time everybody, it's seriously, like the first 15 episodes I ever did, I was like nervous. I almost threw up like before 3 of them. Like, I don't even know why I feel this way. It's just to chat with somebody, but yeah, you'll be fine until the next time you come on. So awesome. Thanks so much, Melissa.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Special thank you to Burnett County Circuit Court Judge Melissia Mogen for taking the time to come on for a chat with us today. And thank you, of course, all of you for your comments. I'll see you next Thursday when I'll be chatting with the newly appointed Rusk County Sheriff Phil Grassman. So until then, for DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, saying thank you for watching and have a blessed day.